Tropical storm Cindy is nearing landfall along the Louisiana and Texas coastlines. I'm Mike Nasa with the latest from the IPR Tropical Update page here on YouTube. Here's the latest on Tropical Storm Cindy as of 1 a.m. Central, 2 a.m. Eastern Time. It was at 29.2 north, 93.6 west. Winds were down a bit to 45 miles per hour, still pretty gusty though. It's moving slowly north-northwest, 6 or 7 miles per hour, and that pressure holding firm at about 992 millibars. You can see the track here through time is going to make landfall probably right near the border of Louisiana and Texas over the next couple of hours, and then weaken but move inland through Arkansas and then eventually up into the Tennessee Valley, and it could still bring some very heavy rain along with it. But the track seems pretty straightforward at this time at least, and we know based on the computer models that they're in good agreement that this will eventually get up and out of here. Hopefully it won't hang around too fast with those heavy rains. Now this is a very long range loop, and you can see from afar there's Cindy coming onto the Louisiana coastline, and look at this surge of dry air pushing into the circulation. This has kept it looking very, very much like a let's say a subtropical system, and it's not very favorable at all, and it's also helping to dry up some of the moisture. You can see what's left of Brett here getting sucked into this upper low, which is venting the right side of Cindy, so there is that interaction between the two systems. Another tropical wave brewing here in the central Atlantic. This could really be a problem come July, August, September if they keep coming off the coast like they have been. But the good news with this dry air pumping into Cindy is that it's almost impossible for the system to strengthen. And when we look at the radar, you can see that even better. That dry air has effectively dried up a lot of the moisture here that was over Louisiana, which is really good news because where there is rain, it could be very, very heavy and flooding type rains. And you can see right now there's a good bit over Texas, Galveston, Houston area, and the circulation center very weak and diffuse trying to come on shore. It looks more like it's coming ashore in Louisiana than Texas, but it's going to be a close call. Nonetheless, it's not going to cause any sort of eye wall or any kind of issues like that. Most of the bad weather has already moved on shore, along with the tropical storm force winds, which continue to impact areas of the coastline, which is why we have the tropical storm warnings out for most of the Louisiana coast and parts of the Texas coast, all the way to San Luis Pass in Texas. Now once again on the water vapor loop, which is a really good indicator of what the situation is with the circulation, you can see the high cloud going all the way up into the Ohio River Valley and up in as it interacted with that trough of low pressure, and you can see the dry air pumping in here, and so this is all going to help get Cindy in and out over the next couple of days. And with all this dry air, that is really, really saving us from a flooding situation. Not to say that can't happen, but as you can see on the Lake Charles radar, this is certainly not the wettest tropical storm they've dealt with. Still some good rain, Houston, Beaumont, as I mentioned before, but really dried up along areas like Morgan City, Abbeville, New Iberia, Lafayette, Intercoastal City. It could have been a lot wetter, at least right now. That's not to say you haven't gotten rainfall. And when you look at some of those rain rates the next 7 days, a lot of it is focused along the Gulf Coast as Cindy moves up and out. So don't think it's over by any means, but certainly the weak dryness of the system is helping suppress some of the heavy rainfall that could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse. And we don't want to see another Allison from 2001. And it's always still too early. Remember, it is still interacting with fronts, and it is a June system, kind of sprawling and weak, and those could sometimes stick around and drop copious amounts of rain. But I'm not seeing the influx of moisture from the Gulf to really keep this thing raining like mad over the South as badly as a storm like Allison did 16 years ago or so. I will tell you though that it does look pretty symmetric, so the shear let up, but the upper level conditions as they improve, the dry air just really made the other half of the circulation down here dry as a bone. So that is good news. It looks like most of the wet weather has already come ashore, and then we'll eventually move on off towards the north and east. So pretty soon we won't have to deal with Cindy, but still some heavy rainfall, flooding potential. We've already seen some flooding in areas of Louisiana, especially the low-lying marshy areas down here where the tropical storm force winds have been persisting. Some tornadic situations are possible and have been reported, and of course we're going to continue to keep an eye on it. But again, for late June, pretty impressive to see Brett and Cindy within just a couple of days of each other. I should note that other than our Cindy, we are still watching tropical waves moving off the coast of Africa. There's that wave I mentioned before in the central Atlantic, and there's another good one moving off and another one behind that. And while it's not expected that these storms will develop, there are two fears that I have with these. Number one, that come July, we could have a situation where a wave like this moves off the coast and doesn't necessarily develop into a Cape Verde hurricane, but might come back to bite us in the behind in the Caribbean or the Gulf down the road, or that this is indicative of what's going to be coming off the coast in August and September, which could be a problem. So again, we're going to have to wait and see on that, but so far busy for hurricane season 2017. We'll keep an eye on the tropics, and I will see you guys next time.